It's time for another Out of Bounds Rewind with Bo Bounds on ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Tom Luginbill, National College Football Analyst, ESPN. He joins us on the Yuengling Lager guest line. Let's go to Alabama. They're going to win this weekend, but we don't know how long Bryce Young's out. And they've got some tough games coming up, and including at Tennessee. So, give me an idea. Let's say he's out 4 weeks, Tom. I know Saban was talking about 48 hours, which I was like, what the world?
Right.
Let's say he's out 3 or 4 weeks. Could that give someone else, LSU or Ole Miss, an opportunity to at least make it interesting, or no?
Yeah, absolutely. If Jalen Milroe proves that he's not going to be able to make the plays in the passing game that we've seen Bryce Young make look routine, right? We know he can run. We know he's a big – you look at him, he looks like Anthony Richardson. He's a big, physical got him out of trouble the other day. I thought what happened the other day was 28-0, then it's 28-23, and they had to make some plays. And they had to do it in the second half on the road, and they did. Between him and Jahmyr Gibbs, I was very impressed with how that team responded. I think Alabama learned an awful lot about some guys on their football team because of the Bryce Young injury. So I think there's some building blocks there for Bill O'Brien this week, but they're going to have to come up with maybe some different ways of getting him moving through the air, because he just hasn't played much. Not that he can't do it,
right,
but he hasn't played much. So I think that could be something that if you looked and they had to play without Bryce for a few weeks, can you take advantage of maybe some deficiencies in the passing game that Alabama may have, not as a result of a lack of talent, but more of a lack of experience?
Jalen Milroe, for our listeners, is the guy that was playing once Bryce Young went down, number 4. Now, this guy can scoot.
Yeah.
Once he got going, I was like, what? And I know you know all about him. Give me the ESPN recruiting playbook on Jalen Milroe.
So he reminds me of a faster Jalen Hurts. He's built like him. He's physical like him. I think he has – and again, I'm not comparing to Jalen Hurts, NFL Jalen Hurts, because I hate comparing high school players to NFL guys. But when you look at the two guys when they came out, a lot of similarities, in my opinion, between these guys. Jalen was just under 6'2". This kid's just under 6'2". This kid's almost 200 pounds. That's right around where Jalen Hurts was coming out. He is a really, really, really good athlete that needs grooming in the passing game. He needs polish. He needs somebody to work with him technically, fundamentally. He'll get there. That stuff will come, but I labeled him as being a raw prospect coming out. The skill set's there, but there's a little bit of sandlot ball, a little bit of street ball in his style of play, because at the high school level, you just get away with doing
sure.
that stuff. And so now I think as he kind of continues to grow, continues to mature, you'll see him become a little bit more polished in the passing game.
Okay, so is this who they wanted? Is this who you keep up with it? Is this who they targeted, or did they lose out on someone? Because when you say raw and not quite polished, a lot of times Bama can go get a guy who's a little bit more polished. How did that work on recruiting him?
I think they had a pretty good feel of what was going to happen in the 2022 class. They knew Bryce Young was going to play at least through 2022 and hadn't played yet in 2021, and that's the class that they recruited Jalen in. All right, so I think they felt pretty good for 2 cycles, and then they ended up bringing in Ty Simpson in the 2022 class. So they've got another guy in the 2023 class in Eli Holstein. So they're fine at quarterback. He's just a little. I think honestly think they saw some Jalen Hurts in him.
Okay. And they can win. He and Gibbs alone can do what they need, and then throw it a little bit, and they'll be just fine, right? Depending on what Bill O'Brien wants to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, what happened last weekend, I think, if you're Alabama's coaching staff, was very encouraging.
Okay.
There weren't glaring warts. What if they would have gone out in that second half? It's 28-23, and all of a sudden Alabama can't function on offense. That would be problematic.
Don't miss one moment of the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Weekdays, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.